Oh, test one, two. YouTube and Facebook go live. Come on, YouTube. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, folks, we're live on Podbeam, and now we are live on Rumble and should be on Facebook. Folks, this is Kenny with Just the Right Angle doing a 1235 broadcast on things that matter to you. Top story I wanted to talk about was some wonderful news. I sometimes have bad news, but today I have some wonderful news. The RNC, better known as the Republican National Committee, is being cleaned. It is being replaced. Donald Trump has, using his influence, has Laura Trump as the head of as I believe vice chair, and let's see who is the chair. Well, this is Michael Whatley, who was the chairman of the North Carolina Republican Party, was elected as chair of the RNC. This was a few days ago. However, the former chair, Ronna McDaniel, since she's been removed, she was removed she announced she was gonna leave a few days ago, and then I believe in March, not long after that, they had an RNC meeting in Texas where they elected a new chair. Let me double check one thing here. So, the new chair, I'm sorry, folks. Michael Whatley, along with Laura Trump, have decided to fire close to 60 RNC staffers. Now the names of these staffers, I tried to look them up because I really wanted to know who they are, so that we, the people, can know who not to hire in the future. Unfortunately, I know that in this article, it states that a lot of those people, their names were withheld. I think that's a mistake. I think we should know who these people are. Who has been failing the Republican Party? Mistake. I think we should know who these people are. Sorry about that little audio glitch. Yeah, we need to know who these people are, what they were doing, why they were hired in the first place. If there's any other consultant firms, I hope what they do next, because I know Ronna McDaniel, a lot of people talk about what she spent on flowers and limo rides, but the thing she spent the most money on was actually consultants. We need to know who those consultants are, because those consultants cause so much damage, not just in the fact that they wasted money, but they would often, and I see this here on many examples, they would sabotage Republican efforts. They would sabotage conservative issues, like actually sealing up the border, like actually reducing the size and scope of government instead of just, slightly reducing the increase. Is oftentimes what's happened. So what we've done now is we've managed to fire at least 60 of these various. So what we've done now is of these RNC staffers, in the hope that by doing so it will improve the Republican Party on a national level. A lot of people, what they did is they stopped donating to the RNC, and with good reason, because they didn't want their money to be wasted on people like Ronna McDaniel and anybody from the Lincoln Project, these Karl Rove type of folks who don't win elections, spend lots of money, have no creativity, no, not really smart. They just brown nose their way to the top, and have consistently failed to win elections, for which they often blame conservatives and oftentimes Trump. Ronna McDaniel has been losing elections for, I think, close to 7 years now. The 2022 elections, for instance, the midterms, where we were supposed to have the red wave. Well, that was a failure. And that was really Ronna McDaniel. Of course, they blame Donald Trump, and they'll often blame conservatives. They'll say it was because the overturn of Roe v. Wade and other such nonsense. No, that's not it. That's not it at all. The reason why conservative Republicans and conservatives mainly lost the 2022 elections is because of the incompetence of Ronna McDaniel and many others like her. And this is something I wish Trump had done the last time. Well, wish it had been done years ago, even before Trump. And we've had their urges to remove Ronna McDaniel for years. It's just there was a lady who tried to run against her in the last RNC chair election, and she didn't quite have the votes to do that. And that leads me to some of the other things we're talking about. Your convention, your county and state conventions are soon going to have a way to affect what happens at the national convention. Delegates are right now being chosen, and we need conservatives to join county committees, state conventions, and the RNC convention, which is going to be in Milwaukee. And we need people to, find out how this process works and find a way to get involved. Because this, for a long time, the Republican Party has been nothing but a country club for a bunch of elitists who don't really care about freedom. They just want to either get money or power, influence, and either, get some cushy government job, get some do-nothing consulting job, or in some way, shape, or form. Sometimes I think there's some people that are in the Republican Party for the sole purpose of sabotaging conservative issues. I fully believe that. It's just the fact that it's happened so often, where things like they sabotage things like self-deportation laws, and then we end up they try to push another amnesty. We've had, that we try to do real tax cuts, and this has gone back years. Ronald Reagan tried to get rid of the Department of Education, but was sabotaged not just by Democrats, but there were a number of Republicans as well. We've tried to get rid of abortion for years, and we would have Republicans that would come by and sabotage us. And when we've had a lot of these activist judges, I remember hearing about the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, and we would try to say we need to defund the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Congress would never do it. And example after example after example, these stupid budget deals that they do. And we need to cut the department of so many of these departments, and it never gets done. And now what we're doing here with Ukraine, it's why we had to fire Kevin McCarthy, because he kept caring more about Ukraine than the United States of America. And of course, look at our border. We've been demanding for years, ever since Reagan signed the 86, I think it was the 86, 87 amnesty, we were supposed to have a secure border, and the border has not been secured. And now Congress is, actually our federal government, not just under Biden, mind you, but a lot of bureaucrats that have been appointed by Republicans are actively stopping people from trying to secure the border, particularly Texas. Arizona, they tried to pass a bill, and it was vetoed by the fraudulent governor there, Hobbs, who stole the election from Kari Lake. But even if they had a governor, Kari Lake, and they would have approved that, I'm sure Biden would have done something to punish Arizona like they did with Texas, where after they tried to secure their border, suddenly there was a block on natural gas selling, which economically harmed the state of Texas. And I'm not sure if those fires are just happen to coincide with that as well. But this overall is still good news. Basically, what Trump has done is he has removed these rhinos and has replaced them with conservatives. Well, some don't need to be replaced. There's probably some useless positions that probably don't need to be there at all. But you can see this story on Gateway Pundit. Here's a story from Free Republic. I want to show this. These are some changes that have already been made. Apparently, the email fund list, the RNC's email list, was from 3 million to 50 million. But that doesn't mean anything. Matter of fact, it looks like Ronna McDaniel, when they made this online funding system called WinRed, is taking credit for that. But it was actually, again, Donald Trump. And this is what rhinos do. They'll take credit for any gains made by conservatives, and then they'll blame conservatives, and particularly Trump, for when the Republican Party fails. But you can go to Free Republic. This is another website. It talks a lot about what's been going on with the Republican Party, how they need to watch the money. There's millions of dollars that's been, like I said, wasted. If you've seen a broadcast before, and Charlie Kirk and others have talked about this, DC Dranos and other persons talked about this, they have wasted millions of dollars on stupid things that they shouldn't have wasted their money on. And then on things they needed to spend money on, which is like, ballot harvesting, training, finding out what really happened in the last election. They have failed. Now, Trump, by the way, has secured the nomination. He has enough delegates for this to win the national convention, which is no surprise to anybody. Is likely going to be, campaigning in battleground states and trying to reform the Republican Party at a national level. But what we really need is a cleansing on the local level. We need to clean house on a local level because, and my state of Arkansas is one of many examples, there's still a lot of rhinos that run the state, a lot of rhino consultants. And now here's an example. Here we have a RPA is having their state convention. It happens to be June 8th, which is the day I met the lovely Rebecca. But for 2024, the RPA state convention is usually it's held in Little Rock. And one of the main reasons why is so that people from around the state don't have to go as far in order to meet up and do business regarding the Republican Party. And this is important because gas money it costs money to do these things, to hold these conventions in general. And then you add things like gas and if somebody has to stay at a hotel, that adds up. hundreds of dollars, money that some people don't have. Many people want to get involved. So the best thing has been to hold it in Little Rock. And if you have followed along with my page, you remember what happened in the last state convention, where yours truly and several other patriots, Pamela Boyd Shields, who's passed away, and many others, were kicked out of the Arkansas Party State Convention illegally. We were barred from being delegates. And then we were kicked out of the whole hotel. Sicked on by police who were not supposed to be enforcing rules of a convention. Here's a video of what I'm talking about.
You may have a right to speak, but having been on the very opposite side of this matter, I don't think you're helping me.
So anyway, that's one example. And then if you type in, I thought my video would be the one to pop up first. Let me try Keep Arkansas Legal. Now, there's several videos regarding the state convention.
Something just happened about a possible threat of arrest, but she's talking with somebody else right now about it. By the way, I'm the only one documenting any of this. We have 4 news stations and multiple radio stations, but so far I believe I'm the only media that is here. So this will be the only place that could be my YouTube and Rumble pages and my media are the only places where you can even get information on what is going on here. The security guard is now going to the Kenneth Ryan James and Reed. I assume it's to talk about whether or not people can sit there and wait on the side. We have some people that are in their 70s, a few that are disabled. I myself only have a small ankle sprain, so I can stand for a while, but there's some people that probably want to wait so they can go in that side entrance.
Now, this was at the Embassy Suites in Little Rock. Sorry, folks. And this was 2 years ago when they had their last state convention. And what they did is they illegally blocked out the Pulaski County delegation because the Pulaski County had recently replaced their GOP committee with conservatives. And so,
and we're waiting to see. So, I'm not sure what's on vacation or getting ready to go on a vacation and decide to sit on the side, and they may be told to leave as well. Even though that. And by the way, we were never informed of anything about where to be. We were only informed last night that we wouldn't be delegates, late last night. So some people probably bought hotel rooms and took the time to come down here, scheduled, took their time and gas to come down here, had planned on it, and only until last night told they may not be able to vote. Yeah. We had to pre-register and prepay to be delegates to this convention. Okay, so now they're putting out chairs, I think. I think now they are starting to put out some chairs. Because there are people that are having to wait out here.
They didn't bring the chairs out.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking to see.
Reappropriated.
So we had to grab chairs at random places because the Pulaski County Republican Committee has been exiled, and the leadership wants us to suffer as much as possible, so they didn't even bother to get to have any kind of extra chairs or extra seating.
So anyway, you can go down on Keep Arkansas Legal, type in state convention, and you'll see all kinds of footage of that. That's what happened the last time. And it's not entirely impossible that they might do that again. I mean, this is another one. It goes into a little more detail.
Nobody from Pulaski County Committee is allowed in.
This is Rick McKay. He's being blocked by this. I believe this was the Jefferson County GOP chair who was acting like a security guard. And again, these police officers, these are Little Rock police officers, they're not supposed to be enforcing any rules of an organization. Their only job is to make sure that people don't fight each other. That's it. And it wouldn't surprise me if this kind of stuff happened again at the next convention, which is been scheduled for June 8th in Rogers instead of Little Rock. So you know the kind of behavior that these people do, that the establishment of Arkansas do. They hate conservatives. They want conservatives to suffer. They want to do everything they can to drive conservatives away from this process. They hate Donald Trump. They won't admit it, of course. But they are doing everything they can to make it more difficult for people to be involved in the process. In particular, the Republican Party establishment, the consultant class, want to be able to keep primaries open as opposed to closed primaries. Because with open primaries, they can have Democrats cross over and elect the people they want. And I know for a fact that's happened in several elections. We had Conduit had Bob Bailey, who tried to run against Breonna Davis in the primary in Russellville area for Arkansas State Senate. Breonna Davis only won because of Democrat crossover votes. Same thing in North Little Rock with Jane English versus a guy that Conduit had ran to unseat him, whose name now I can't remember because he's been out of politics for a while. But she barely won that vote, but she won it because Democrat crossover. And of course, on a national level, we've seen this before with Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley only won votes. Nikki Haley tried to get Democrats to vote for her to win the New Hampshire primary. It didn't work. And she won the quote-unquote Republican primary in Washington, D.C. I think she may have gotten some votes from Vermont. But again, the only purpose of open primaries is to keep rhino consultants and class types in power and to keep conservatives from being elected to office. That is the only reason for open primaries. And in the state convention, I believe we do have the ability to vote on that. So what's happening now is the Republican Party elitists in the consultant class, particularly Caldwell Consulting, Impact Management, guys like Seth May, Asa Hutchinson, a lot of the behind-the-scenes Jezebel, backstabber, smoke-filled room type folks are trying to make it more difficult for conservatives to be involved in this convention process. Besides moving the date, the location to Rogers, which is way up northwest and about as far away as you can get from a lot of the first district people that are much more conservative, they are also trying to change the rules to where it requires a 2/3 vote, and they want to block the ability for committees to pass what's known as not recommended resolutions regarding some candidates. Several counties did that regarding Asa Hutchinson because Asa Hutchinson was never a Republican. He's only a saboteur. And of course, by doing this, are, like I said, taking away power from your local county committees. So, honestly not sure what's going to happen. There's actually going to be several county committees that are going to have their convention soon, and they're going to pick delegates to go to this state convention. Now here you can see the number of delegates they get. This is based upon county. There is an Arkansas County, for those who are wondering. There's actually 75 of these. I'm not going to go through all of them because it'd take too long. You can see some of the counties, and they're based upon, and there's a way to base the number of delegates they get. Lincoln County has 5. I'm trying to see if there's any ones that have less than 4. I don't think they do. I think they have a minimum of at least 3, but I think they all have 4. But you see here, the big ones are Pulaski that has 50, and then Saline has 33. Now, if I don't know these other, Faulkner, which has Conway 28. Basically, where the areas that have the larger cities are going to have a lot more people. If you're wondering what alternates are, that's in case a delegate can't go. They have a list of people who are called alternates. You are not allowed to have what's known as a proxy, where you can't say, well, I'm not going to attend, so I'll have a proxy. You can do that in like county committees, but you cannot do it at the state convention. You yourself have to be there. Also, unlike a winter or summer committee meeting, a state convention does not automatically give voting spots to elected officials like state legislators or federal officials. So again, the establishment will have a lot less power at the state convention. But again, the convention's June 8th at Rogers. If you want to try to fix things in the Republican Party, if you like what you see with what Trump's doing with the RNC, try to find a way to get there. Or if not, try to help someone who is. If there's somebody that's thinking about going, they're saying they're not sure if they can afford to go to, offer to help them. Offer to caravan up there. If you live in this area and you're a conservative, see if you can give them room and board. But find a way to get involved, because this is going to happen. There's going to, there's this kind of behavior that you see here in videos like this one. I'm going to go ahead and play before I close out. This kind of, and the stuff that's happened in Nebraska, where they actually did arrest people, conservatives who were trying to get involved. That stuff is probably going to happen. But we need to fight against these traitors in the Republican Party. We need to oust them. We don't need a Chris Caldwell and Richard Bearden and some of these other consultant owners running the Republican Party like it's their own little social club and getting money off of doing it. Quite frankly, every county chair needs to be paid. The people that are, there's a lot of people that are getting paid too much, and a lot of people that aren't getting paid enough. And it's just like at the RNC, where they wasted money on flowers and limo rides and consultants. Same problem is here on the Arkansas Republican Party. Here, I'm going to go ahead and play this just so you have another idea of what I'm talking about. Notice the people. I try to name people in this one. Actually, I think this was actually filmed by my lovely bride-to-be, Rebecca, but here, I'll just play this.
Nobody from Pulaski County Committee is allowed.
The chairwoman's in there.
The chairwoman's in there. She's not treated either.
The chairwoman is in there as a guest.
I mean, come on, you guys. We need to have one rule. We need to follow the rules. The chairwoman is in there, and she's not seated.
I mean, is the chairwoman
So
going to
is
report?
nobody from Pulaski County
If you remember to say when delegates that are not being seated, you will not be allowed.
There's alternates too. Are the alternates allowed in?
No. I was told no, it's not.
Okay.
Okay, it is David Singer. Sorry about that.
I'm not explaining this all day long. I would like to go back to the meeting. So here's what's going to happen. You're a delegate. Are you a delegate?
Yes,
And you're one that's not being seated.
that's correct.
You're entitled to a refund. You need to leave. So I can tell you.
Okay, I want an answer. I'd like an answer, please, sir, kindly. I'm asking peacefully. Are the alternates going to be allowed in?
I was just any part of that delegation that was being voted down. It was voted down that they're not being allowed in.
Yeah, they voted not to seat anybody.
They voted not to seat anything that was on that delegate list.
Excuse me.
Still not your
It was a
alternates.
bad vote. I think.
I'm not
Excuse me.
trying
If you want to
to
go to the front of the hotel, I can see if I can get Sarah Hill or somebody out there to speak directly to you. But right now,
Would you do that? Because there's a lot of other people out there, they deserve
right now,
to
just
be.
clear the hall.
Okay, that's
I'm
fine.
just passing on the information.
No problem. So if you would, who is it you said, Sarah?
Sarah Joe. Sarah Joe, right there, is the one who's going to tell you what's going to happen.
Is this Sarah here?
Yes, that's a woman holding a baby there. Because, again, these people are taking their Saturday off to try to get involved. I don't know if she's one of the ones that was blocked. I don't think she was. But, yeah, there's people trying to live their normal lives while trying to get involved in the political process. And you have these stuck-up consultant types that are blocking them.
Let's go to this one, Sarah. Is this Miss Sarah? Huh? Is that Sarah?
No, I'm Sarah.
Oh, you're Miss Sarah. Hi.
I will refund all the people from Pulaski County.
We need more than a refund. Of course, that was just a refund to attend the convention, not for gas, not for anybody that stayed at a hotel. And by the way, this Jezebel has been removed from the Republican Party. She got so bad that even a lot of the establishment types didn't like her, but she should have never been there in the first place. And there's more people that need to follow her and leave.
Yeah, no, it's not. That's not the question. The question is anybody who is excluded from going in with
The people from Pulaski County.
everybody in the Pulaski County
Can
Committee?
we go in as a guest and sit in a separate section?
I will go.
That's all we're asking. We know that.
If you're going to be peaceful, then you can be
Sure,
there.
we
You're not going to.
We can be peaceful.
Rick, you're gonna be peaceful?
Please don't video me,
I'm
Rebecca.
peaceful.
Okay, you're not gonna say.
Please don't video me. That's disrespectful, okay? Please don't video me.
Hi, Miss Sarah. Alan Carter and I, we just shook hands. We went out with Ms. Marlies.
I'm not going to have this conversation if I'm going to be videoed.
I don't have you on video.
Okay, yeah. I'm not having this conversation.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't video. She doesn't want to be videoed. That's not right. Thank you, Sarah.
If you don't video, nobody knows.
That's why they don't want it.
Exactly, because they don't want to.
Yeah, at the time, Leslie Rutledge was Attorney General. These are the people that were allowed to the convention. So their whole thing about if you're from Pulaski County, you couldn't go was a lie. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if they're going to do this sort of nonsense at this upcoming convention or not. Honestly, couldn't say. One would hope they wouldn't, but you can never tell. But folks, that's mainly what I was wanting to talk about, was to get people prepared for this state convention. It's already been announced, but a lot of people don't know some of the background, the story of what's going on. Most people haven't even been to a state convention. I've been to a few, and most of the time when I have been to them, they've been doing everything they can to kick me out. Because they're the people that decided to schedule this in Rogers instead of putting it in Little Rock and are trying to change the rules for the state convention are disrespectful, elitist globalists who hate Trump, hate God, hate this country, and are actively trying to sabotage it. And they're too cowardly to admit that they really need to go, they need to leave and join another party. That's really what it boils down to. The overwhelming majority of people want this to block things like the LGBTQ agenda. They want to reduce the size and scope of government, not just reduce the increase in growth. I know Sarah Huckabee Sanders has a budget that's supposed to be a little bit less than what government is going to grow, but we need more. We need to cut things like the funding of the godless library system. We don't need to be spending any Arkansas tax dollars on climate change. We don't need to be spending any tax dollars on DEI or critical race theory or whatever they've renamed it. So no, they're not doing this because they're thrilled to show off more corners of the beautiful state. They're doing it because of the political landscape. You can look in here and see the rules. It's also good to know about the rules, the way things work. The Leadership Institute, I believe, has a training session regarding Robert's Rules of Order. And keep in mind, the Republican Party does have its own rules, which are slightly different. Most of the time, they're the same, but there may be some procedures that are different. But Robert's Rules of Order is how most of these things are done, where you have a chair, vice chair, you have to, be recognized, you make a nomination, that kind of procedure. It's important to know that and to cite it especially when it's being broken. Like when the Arkansas Young Republicans decided to make up a secret credentials committee that violates the Arkansas Young Republicans' constitution regarding membership. And it was just a cowardly excuse to keep conservatives from being involved. By the way, the Greater Saline County Young Republicans should not be recognized, should not be allowed to vote in any state convention or committee because of the fraudulent way in which they banned people from voting to elect officers in their October meeting, which I've posted here. If you can go to Just Right Angle and Rebel, YouTube, Keep Arkansas, you can see the footage of that. I've talked about that before. There was a letter put out that tried to justify the creation of a credentials committee, but it never explained how that credentials committee is able to override the Arkansas Young Republicans' constitution regarding membership. And of course, this credentials committee was met behind closed doors so that they could, like a bunch of cowards again, keep MAGA supporters, conservatives, or people that just weren't part of their country club from being involved in the Greater Saline County Republicans. They happened to keep two veterans, combat veterans, out of their organization as well. Jimmy Cavins talked about this on the Dave Ellswick show. I've talked a little bit about this issue as well. I have video of it. I may post and do a video about that letter later on. But anyway, find a way to get involved. Your local county committee is probably going to be having conventions too. Find out who they are. Find a way to get involved. I believe you can join your county committee during the convention, so you can get a lot of conservative friends, get involved and join and vote to send people to the state convention. A few people could make the difference. I've seen multi-million-dollar tax increases defeated by as few as 8 votes. I believe actually during the last election there was a tax increase in one of the school districts that was a tie, and so it didn't pass. And I don't know how many millions of dollars it was, but it made the difference in it failing. So, yeah, you can make a difference despite what the media tells you. It doesn't take much. It just takes a little effort, determination. You're going to get backlash, but we're supposed to get out of our comfort zone. If you're just like the people who fought for this country, who started this nation, they first tried for years to peacefully, legally separate from Britain, or at least gain some more freedoms. And when that didn't work, they went to war. So hopefully if we do this process enough, we can kick enough rhinos out of the Republican Party. Once there, we can defeat Democrats. And with conservatives and enough power, we can then actually win the wars we need to win, actually reduce government, and save at least part of this nation. That's it. Again, you can follow me at Just the Right Angle at yahoo.com. Just the Right Angle, yahoo.com is my email address. On Rumble, Just the Right Angle. YouTube right now is connected to Keep Arkansas Legal. Of course, I am on Facebook. I posted this on Truth Social and Twitter. Kenny_NLR on Twitter. Truth Social, I believe it is Keep Arkansas Legal on there as well. I kind of flip them forward and back between them. Other than that, you all have a wonderful day.